do that?
I'll do it.
Thank you.
Just for number one.
For number one, yeah. All right. Well, I'll ask if someone else can volunteer for the second session. Thank you for that, Alice. Yeah, so all the information is on the meta page of the program. We'll post that again in the Telegram so that you can find all of the resources for these sessions. But I'm going to start straight away and introduce our first four presenters. Helen, and Julie, Harry and Rebecca have come from New Zealand and they're scholars. They were summer students for one of the first Wikimedia Alliance projects in our ECUP region. They worked with the Auckland War Memorial Museum on local history. I have to slow down so you cannot do what I did, sorry. Local history for the new curriculum in New Zealand. So please welcome them, and they're going to present as a team. I'll leave you to it. Thank you.
Hi everyone, we're the Auckland Museum interns. This is our first time at any Wikipedia event outside of the New Zealand WikiCon, so we're very excited to be here. Thank you for having us and being so welcoming. Our presentation, as Prue sort of described, is about our experience as interns for Auckland Museum. So yes, it was a very incredible opportunity we had over the summer. We first made our Wikipedia accounts November of 2023, so this is all very, very fresh for us. So we're going to be talking about our individual experiences, what we learned, our struggles, what we found really interesting about the whole Wikipedia process.
But move away from the slide so that people can that's not how to do that. But
Exactly. So we're just going to go through and introduce ourselves. So my name is Harry. I am a law and geography student at the University of Auckland.
My name is Helen. I am also a law student. I also study a double major of global studies, specializing in international relations and business with a minor in economics.
Hi, I'm Rebecca again. I just started my postgraduate study in history, specializing in modern history, also at Auckland University.
Hi, I'm Angeli. I am studying a Master's of Heritage Conservation, specializing in museums and cultural heritage at the University of Auckland as well. So we spent our summer break spending 10 weeks at Auckland Museum interning with the Collection Information Access team. During our internship, we delved into the world of Wikipedia. This internship was generously supported by the Wikimedia Foundation. So today we're just going to talk you through our experience. So that's Auckland Museum just there, which is one of the most prominent museums in Auckland. It was a really great opportunity. Yeah, we're excited to share with you.
So our internship fit into the new New Zealand history curriculum that's being developed across New Zealand high schools. So the big thing about this new curriculum is they want to focus a lot more on really local history and really catering the history to all the different areas of New Zealand and not just doing national histories. So our project was what we were trying to do was supporting students and teachers gaining more information about their area through Wikipedia, because Wikipedia is the most accessible source for students and teachers, and we wanted to make really important local history way more easy to access, and that was our biggest goal for this project.
So our overall general aim for this project, as you can see, was to address the knowledge gaps and information bias on Wikipedia, particularly in relation to coming to Auckland. We had some more specific goals, such as creating 40 new articles and hosting an edit-a-thon as well.
So we were really lucky during our internship that we were able to have weekly speakers from the Wikipedia community come in and talk to us, either through in person or through Zoom. So we were very fortunate for that. And with all that knowledge that we gained from them, we were able to host an editathon. We hosted that earlier this year in February. Really great turnout, and these are all the attendance results that we got.
So we're each just going to go through some of the work that we did during the internship and some of the experiences that we had. So I'll start. My name on Wikipedia was Sum23. I focused on two main areas when I was in the project. These were natural history and queer history. I started off focusing on natural history. I'm a geography student, so that's an interest of mine. So Auckland is located on a volcanic field with 50 active volcanoes, which lead to some pretty amazing geological features. However, I've lived there for 6 years and I knew nothing about them, probably because they weren't on Wikipedia, which is like my first port of call when I'm looking for information. So I really wanted to try and upload some information about these places. And also that gave me a good chance to actually visit the places as well and take some photos for Wikimedia Commons. So I started off learning about the Almora Rock Forest, which you can see on the left there. That's a photo I took. It's a volcanic rock bed, which is located pretty close to central Auckland, actually. And I've never heard of it before. And it's one of the only ones that is left in the area, although there used to be many. I also learned about the Takapuna Fossil Forest on Auckland's North Shore. This was basically an area which used to be a forest of trees where a lava flow came through and encased the tree trunks, leaving some pretty amazing molds, which are still there today. After that, I shifted my focus to queer history, which is another interest of mine, but also an area that I didn't feel I knew much about. Auckland has a rich queer history, though much of the information is missing from Wikipedia. So my goal was to make some contribution in the short time that I had to address this, just to signify the fact that these queer histories have always been present in Auckland. I studied activists such as Nana Demalo and Chrissy Watuko, who advocated for transgender rights in New Zealand at a time when they experienced significant abuse by the police as well as other groups. I studied meeting places such as the Kudoro Coffee Lounge in Auckland. These were places that fostered a sense of community in Auckland's queer community as it established. I even learned and wrote about a mayor from New Zealand who was in prison for murder after a man threatened to out him as gay, basically. Now that was more of a wormhole that I went down. It wasn't super relevant to Auckland history, but that's kind of the way he's Wikipedia distracted. But overall, I learned that there was a large and diverse queer history in Auckland, and I barely scratched the surface of covering it in my short time there. There's plenty more work to be done. Next slide, please. So my main challenge that I faced in creating these pages was finding sources that are reliable under Wikipedia's definition. This is something that I'm sure many of you have dealt with as well. So a lot of the information I found, particularly about early queer establishments in Auckland, such as bars and clubs, was that the information was anecdotal. So it wasn't in academic sources, it was rather in social media and blog posts, which, as you might know, aren't seen as reliable under Wikipedia's reliability scheme. And so because of that, this information, while it did hold value, wasn't able to be used in my pages. And I think that led to a few gaps in the research that's still there today. And I know that this goes far beyond queer history. There are many other areas that are under-addressed in Wikipedia because of this lack of sources that are seen as reliable. And so perhaps it could be time to revise the way that we define reliable sources on Wikipedia, just to make sure that all voices are being heard. And I'll now pass you on to Helen. Next slide.
My name is Helen. My username is HS17127. And at the start of my internship, I decided to focus my research on two themes. So the first theme was culture, and the second was community. Right. So for my first theme, culture, I decided to make an article relevant to my own culture, which is Samoan. So I started by creating a page for Uluwano who live here, who is a Samoan self-made millionaire who immigrated from Apia, which is the capital of Samoa, to South Auckland. And from there, that's where he went to school, he went to work, and later developed his software technology company, Cognitel, which he later sold to Silicon Valley. Huge success. I selected him as my first person to make a page for because we both grew up in the same town. Growing up in South Auckland, most of the kids around me were brown. So that was mainly Pacific Islanders, Southeast Asians, the indigenous Māori, as well as majority were Indians. It was special for me to be able to celebrate someone of my own ethnicity and to also celebrate someone who represented the area I grew up in, as it wasn't somewhere where a bunch of people were coming out with massive success stories. Where I grew up in South Auckland, Papatoetoe is recognized, when I was growing up, was mainly recognized for its poverty, for its underdevelopment, and it's basically just an area for a bunch of immigrants to arrive. And I really enjoyed making this page because I felt like it was quite an honor actually to celebrate someone who made it out of South Auckland, had his name put on like a global scale, and kind of inspire the rest of South Auckland kids growing up in the next generation. I like to think that my page really celebrates his awards and accolades, and as a Pacific person, that's something that's really important to me, as it's something I didn't see very often on Wikipedia. I didn't see a lot of Pacific people with a bunch of success on there, so I felt that was me kind of taking one step closer to that goal. And I also felt that Uluwano was a perfect person to contribute to our project scope, as I personally believe he is an ideal example of someone for younger Pacific kids in school in New Zealand to kind of look up to or to follow in the steps of. As well as that, by ethnicity, I am Samoan, but by nationality, I am a Kiwi. And for me, I feel like making this page for Uluwano was also a nice way for me to connect with my culture, but to also show Samoan representation online, virtually on a global scale. And then my second article for culture was on New Zealand author Peter Visage, who was raised in Southeast Auckland and is notably known for his books on Māori mythology. And I chose Peter Visage because he was quite significant to me growing up in New Zealand during my school years. So as a Samoan born child, I didn't know much about the country I was living in, the country I was born in. And my very first introduction to Māori culture, the language, their ideas, their stories, their beliefs were his books. And so I thought it was very important to focus on him. Now, the very first book I made the very first page I made was one of his books, Good in the Beginning, which basically told the Māori creation story for children. I created a Wikipedia page for this book as a thanks to Peter Visage, and also created more pages for each of his notable books, such as Pioneer and the Reefs, Maui and the Fishhook, and many more. The way I see it, this page is kind of an ode to Peter Visage for the gift of knowledge he shared with me as a child, and by putting this page in Wikipedia for others to see, I'm kind of passing on that knowledge to the next generation of kids, making it more accessible to them growing up in New Zealand. And then for my second theme, which was community, I made a massive page of all the public parks in Papatoetoe, which is the town where I'm from. So Papatoetoe is the largest suburb in Auckland by population, and is known for its diverse community and its greenery. And so this set of research was very important and actually very enjoyable for me, as it's almost an ode to the hometown that crafted me, created me, helped me become who I am, and I felt that was very important to me. So during my internship, I digitalized information about each park that I researched, and I did this by using the museum archives, books from the museum's research library, and I also contacted different libraries around Auckland, and also actually got in contact with the Auckland Council itself to try and find really old information, really important primary sources, and that actually worked. I actually got a bunch of photos and a lot of outdated information to use on the page. This was the page I enjoyed making the most over the whole 10 weeks of my internship because I did a lot of research outside of work. My partner and I, who's also born and raised in public toilet, he actually went around taking photos of all those public parks. So all those photos that you can see on there, we took ourselves, not that important, right? And then we uploaded those into the Wikimedia Commons. There's still more to be uploaded, but those are on there right now on the page. Actually going out and taking those photos was also very useful because it showed me how the land had developed over time. So for Burnside Park, which is this bottom one here, that park actually isn't even there anymore. It's been cut in half. There's a Burger King on top of it now, which I thought was pretty interesting, and I added that in. Also, Albion Park, which is this one at the top here, has been recently developed. The playground's gone. It's a whole new thing now. So I was able to include a lot of information about its recent upgrades, its recent development, and all the new routes it has. I had the most fun with this Wikipedia page as I got to revisit the routes I would walk home from school on as well. So I felt that was also a nice way to reconnect with my community as I moved out of my hometown to go to uni in the city. And in the future, I also want to create more pages for more parks and also more of the other historical buildings and film. As for the obstacles I faced, well, Uluwaiana, so that was the very first person I spoke about. We were both of us are Samoan, so we both have very similar ideals and values in terms of how we view the world, view personal information. And so Samoan culture is very oratory. There's no physical stuff to really pass on information. Everything is told through word of mouth and through stories. And so I found it very difficult to find a lot of physical, tangible, or written evidence to kind of back up all the information I'm putting on this page. And so I couldn't find a solution to that. The majority of this page is based on his newspaper articles, his company websites, his partner's websites, and so on. With Peter Gassage, I struggled in the very beginning actually with writing with a neutral tone. I have since gotten better at that. I found the solution for that was just to write more pages and kind of just let myself learn what words to use, and which vocabulary was compatible. And then something with both of them that I struggled with was the concept of privacy. So in this picture on the left here, I actually had someone from Uluwaiana's family edit my page, as there is something in the personal life she didn't feel like should be on there. So that was kind of a moment for me to reflect on whether the information I was putting on the page was respecting the family and the man himself, the person I was writing about. That was something to think about. And with Peter Gassage's page, I had the same query where I had, he has passed away, so that I had to write about his death. Someone didn't think that was necessary to put in his personal life, so there was an obstacle between cultural influences, whether people really need to know this information about him, and so on. So that was something I struggled with. And to solve that, I emailed Uluwaiana himself on his work email just to see whether he would respond and be okay with me putting that information up there. He didn't respond, and so after talking to a colleague of ours at the museum, who is the Wikimedia resident, we decided that if you're a notable person, you will have a Wikipedia page regardless of whether you want it or not. So that's how we solved the privacy issue. Thank you. I will now pass on to Rebecca.
Hello everyone, kia ora. That's how you say hello in Te Reo Māori. So my name is Rebecca. My username on Wikipedia is World's Greatest Mum. It's not true at all, but it is my username. So I started off, my very first Wikipedia page I made was on this man right here on the left. His name is Tarati Irirangi, and he is a historic Māori chief. As a Māori historian, that is my background. That is what I'm very specifically comfortable researching in. And also as a Māori woman myself, I was going to start with Māori history. That was what I wanted to do on Wikipedia. And interestingly enough, Tarete Irirangi he is a very important chief in Auckland's history. He's also my probably great grandfather. And so I was very excited to make this page specifically because I knew he was a very important man, and I saw names, roads were named after him, and my family talked about him constantly, and I knew he was so significant to the history of the place that I lived. But he didn't have a Wikipedia page. And I know that we're all very aware that if something isn't on Wikipedia, the general public thinks that that means it isn't important, it is notable. And I knew that that wasn't true, but the world, who doesn't know about Tarete Irirangi, wouldn't know that's true. So that was something that was really special for me to make. It was really important for me to put some of my own history on Wikipedia. It's really nice, especially in New Zealand, and this is probably goes everywhere. Every single white person has a page, and very few non-white people have pages, and that's just something that we're constantly working to fix. I then moved on and really still staying in history. I'm really quite scared of other areas. I then moved on to make a page about this mission station. So New Zealand has a huge missionary history, a huge history of colonization. The mission stations, like this one here in Maraetai, which is in Auckland, were very important to the history of Auckland, which is the focus of our research. And when there was no presence of these mission stations, people were completely unaware of this history. And especially relating to our scope, as we're putting this for education, we're putting this information into high schools, this is really important for students to understand about the place they're living. And then finally, over on the far right, this is a page I made for Samoa House, which is a really significant community space for the Samoan and Pacific Island population in Auckland. Auckland has a huge Pacific community and a huge migrant community, and it's so important to the culture and history of Auckland, yet it didn't have a page. This was briefly on the Did You Know front page of Wikipedia, which is very exciting, and I was really pleased that that kind of boosted its understanding of the world. The biggest challenge that I would say that I faced on my Wikipedia journey thus far was when I was doing my research. A lot of my research was Māori, and a lot of that research I knew a lot more than the academic sources, because there was a lot of oral history that my family had shared with me. There were sources that Wikipedia wouldn't deem as reliable, but also my family didn't want to disperse. There's information that we had that was a treasure to us. There's a lot of information in Māori culture about ancestry, about ways of being, cultural things that's very special to us specifically. And that's not something that we want to share broadly without having any control over it. An example I like to give is like on my arm here is my moko, which is a Māori tattoo. And I think it's so important, I'll switch so you can see. I think it's so important that people across the world know about moko and understand the history behind them and the meaning behind them. But my moko specifically is there's lots of details and features specific to my tribe. And the information within that and my moko, my tribe doesn't really want to share, but we want to share about moko in general. So that's sort of how I like to think about this challenge that I faced. And I think it's really important as Wikipedia is continuing to develop and we are becoming more inclusive and we have more diversity, that when it comes to Indigenous knowledge, we are centering Indigenous voices. We are giving Indigenous peoples, wherever they may live, the power and authority to have control over how their information is being shared. It's so special that we can share this information so broadly, but it's also so important that the people most impacted by that information have some say in it. So I like to think it's like always asking and always learning, and then together as one large Wikimedia family, we can kind of build and continue to grow that knowledge. Thanks so much.
Hi everybody, I'm Ansley, known as Winnie's WikiWord on Wikipedia. So Auckland is one of the more ethnically, culturally and religiously diverse cities in New Zealand. There are a range of diverse suburbs, histories and people. However, this is often excluded in New Zealand school curriculums in favour of colonial histories. So through this project, I wanted to build better representation for migrant stories and people in Auckland like myself. So I lived in one of Auckland's oldest sports suburbs called Onehunga, which is home to diverse ethnicities and cultures. So I started this project by just walking around my local area and looking at this beautiful building that I walk past every day. And I sort of realized that these sites of worship are really important community hubs for a lot of different types of people. So this is the Gothic Revival Church, Our Lady of the Assumption, and it was built in 1889. And because New Zealand is quite a young country with its colonial history, this is one of the older buildings that we have. It's a very multicultural church that hosts many different languages and services such as Samoan, Tongan, Slovakian, Filipino, and even Tamil. So, yeah. Next slide, please. While I researched quite a large range of topics, my three main focuses were heritage buildings, migrant and South Asian people in New Zealand, and contemporary art. One of my most notable articles was about early Indian migrant Honam Singh, who's pictured here, who arrived in Auckland in 1890. His life and career movements were quite well documented, and he found success as a confectioner. So he was one of very, very few migrants whose stories were told through newspapers, and so I got to write a Wikipedia page on this man and give some representation to the migrant story that so many New Zealanders can relate to. So I also submitted his page to the Did You Know, and it was accepted, and I just felt really proud that that was reaching more people, yeah, so it boosted its views and everything, so that was very exciting. And I'm happy that it was shared with a wider audience and created potential for other New Zealand migrants like myself to see themselves represented in our country's history, because migrants are so important to the history of New Zealand. Okay. So the obstacles I encountered with my research were, the first thing I found difficult was allowing my pages that I spent a lot of time crafting, a lot of time researching, allowing other people to come and make changes to them as a researcher and a perfectionist. This was really hard because I'd be like, oh, they changed nothing, but I worked quite a lot of time on that sentence. So that was something that I just had to fully get over and learn that collaboration is the most important part of Wikipedia, and what makes it so special is the community, and everyone has a chance to contribute and build the knowledge. And I think that that is a really, really cool thing. The other thing was lack of secondary sources and maybe not feeling that the content that I was creating was detailed enough, but I resolved that by just being happy that the representation was there, and I figured that that is what matters, that in the future people can add to those and it can just keep building.
We had a couple, these are our outcomes basically. So we had some outcomes that were our internship outcomes. So we hit our targets, we made our articles, we had our editathon. We're very proud of ourselves. We put loads of pictures on Wikimedia Commons. So that was really exciting. We also had the pleasure of representing our communities on Wikipedia. That was really special for all of us, definitely, like see things that were so important to us being able to be shared across the world. That was really, really exciting. And lastly, we were able to attend WikiCon New Zealand. That was really cool to meet other Wikipedians and kind of be like, oh my God, other people are doing this. I'm not just typing like a crazy person. And then it was also it's really incredible that we're here. This is our first proper big Wikimedia event. We're very, very new to this. This is an incredible opportunity. So thank you so much for listening to us, for having us here, and for being so welcoming. Thank you very much.
We just wanted to open up for questions. If anyone has any, we're more than happy to. Oh, happy.
So my question is for all of you. Are you planning to continue contributing to Wikimedia projects? Or was it because, what usually happens with student projects is that people do it and then they disappear?
Yeah, I think we've all had this discussion, and I think we've all still been contributing, and we all, well, I know myself, do a lot of research constantly with with my university course, and so I do feel like I have all this information, and I think I will be sort of feeding it into Wikipedia, because now we know how to use it and how it works and how great the community is, I think. But I'm definitely going to keep contributing.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Sorry, follow-up question. Do you know about other Wikimedia projects, not Wikipedia? Because, for example, a lot of some oral history and everything, the primary sources can be uploaded. It's just not to Wikipedia.
So yes, we do know about other Wikimedia ventures. We've used Wikimedia Commons a lot. Truthfully, due to the nature of our internship, Wikipedia was our primary focus, and also due to the length of time that we had, we were largely focused on Wikipedia. However, with many of our Wikimedian guests that we had, a lot of them taught us about Wikisource and Wikidata and Wiktionary and all those. So we're very aware of them. We unfortunately we're so new. So we'll get to them slowly as we learn. But yes, we are aware. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Oh, I'm writing the notes and I missed the last app.
Oh, yes.
About meeting like the Wikipedia community.
No, sorry. I'm writing the notes in the Etherpad and I missed your last app.
Yes.
Last one.
Oh, do you want to go back to it? Oh, would you be able to?
That's great, thank you.
Any more questions? Now you've met these wonderful people, they're going to be here, you can go and ask questions, talk, find out more about it. Thank you so much, not just for being here, but for all of that work and for sharing. I think we all learned from those outcomes. They're things that we can apply to projects in our own communities. But just thanks for sharing your personal connections and for showing how those articles really do contribute to representing underrepresented communities, because that's the other thing that we can bring, and fantastic that your curriculum is going to start doing that. So, lovely. I don't know whether we should just go straight on to the next session or wait, whether people are going to switch. Does anyone else on the program committee have an idea? All right, we might move straight on. If you could just say a final thank you to and if we could have next and Maria, are you ready to start? Okay. We'll just do a little stand up and then no. But if you want to, you can have another question. Do you think it's able to move forward? No?
Yeah. Is our slide ready? Yeah.
Okay, let's start introductions and then we've got more time for the round tables. So really pleased to introduce three speakers now from the Philippines. So Irvin has a very long list of contributions as the Commons photography group, community leader in the Wikipedia community, board secretary, member of the Preparatory Council at some point, and regional ambassador for Wikiloves and Folklore. But outside the Wikimedia movement, also a day job teaching primary students. So we've got the educator focus here as well. Now, first, we go first. Okay, president of the PhilWiki community. Also a licensed teacher in the Philippines, presently a junior high school teacher. And finally, Maria, also from the PhilWiki community, a licensed professional teacher, currently English teacher at senior high school, and has been a member of the Philippine media community. So this session is about education initiatives in the Philippines, and it's to inform our ongoing conversations throughout the conference about education projects in our communities all over BCR. So I'll hand over now to Matthew to start the presentation, but they might ask you to move forward later on, so that because it is a round table, okay, and we don't have round tables in this room. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you. So, welcome to our session. I am Ruben. I've been editing on Beagle Wikipedia since 2006, and I am the grade school teacher, and I'm with my fellow Wikimedians who are also teachers. So let's start. The way my username is Philippinized.
Okay, sorry, the presentation's still loading. So, do you want to start without it? People can have a quick conversation within the room. So just chat to the person next to you, find out what their interest is in education, and then we'll get the slide up and we'll start straight away.
I am Mafet from PhilWiki community. I have been involved in the movement since 2014 as a contributor in Beacon Wikipedia and Wikimedia Commons. And I also organized Wikiloves competitions in the Philippines since 2018. Also, I am a teacher in junior high school for almost 10 years already. Hi everyone. My name is Maria Galenda. It's my first time attending the ISEA conference. I've been in PhilWiki community since 2020. So it's been 4 years now. My main project is about women. I'm a diversity committee chair. So as a teacher Wikipedia, my focus is recruiting more teachers, educators to make awareness of our movement, and also to develop creative activities in the classroom where we can incorporate Wikipedia as one of our open educational resources. Thank you.
And just a trivia, majority of teachers in the Philippines are women. So it is an opportunity for us to recruit more women to the movement. This is quite awesome here. We'll be discussing about our journey on in promoting Wikimedia in the academy. So we've been conducting outreach activities advocacy programs, but it's only recently that we have education programs through our partners. So we have different wiki clouds. We have established that just last year. Okay. Over 100. Okay, so I am teaching at Antipolo Elementary School. It is a primary school in the Philippines. So it's okay. Enough for this introduction. I think we need to move forward. So we will the next slide, please. So teacher Wikipedians are ambassadors for free knowledge creation, dissemination, and promotion in the academy. I think that teachers are in the best position to educate the young minds about building and sharing one of the most important commodity that we have, which is knowledge. So Wikipedians in the academy are not just ambassadors. I think that we are catalysts for change, and the best place to instill the idea of free knowledge is in schools and in universities.
I actually agree with this one, that teachers should lead and promote free access to knowledge as we play vital role in learners' holistic development. So as a teacher Wikipedian, I have started introducing Wikipedia in the classroom. Currently, I'm teaching 21st century literature from the Philippines and the world. So I encourage my students to research and to use Wikipedia as one of the resources, and I'm very happy that they were able to maximize it. And then during one of their presentations, they were able to research for some of the authors using the Bicol Wikipedia and Tagalog Wikipedia, which we are currently working on.
Next slide. The classroom and faculty rooms serve as venues flagged by misconceptions and apprehensions about open educational resources. And in the Philippines, Wikipedia, doesn't have that reputation, good reputation, but through the Wikipedians in the community, we are able to correct those misconceptions. So based on my long experience in conducting advocacy projects and outreach activities in the academy, perspectives will change. That is why we need to increase our presence in the academy. So we need more teacher Wikipedians.
Actually, same with Irving, before teachers were still hesitant in using open educational resources because for them it's unreliable. But when I introduced them to Wikimedia projects, they see the advantage and benefits of using OERs. I understand, Mampet. I actually have experienced the same thing. Being one of the panelists for the final defense of the students, some of the teachers would say that Wikipedia is unreliable because anybody can edit it. So I say, why not let the teachers join us, teach them how we do it, so we can check the veracity, the reliability of the sources ourselves, because we are educators. So we know what we're talking about. So if there's any error about the articles or there are any gaps, we can actually fill it because we are adept to what we are writing. Thank you. Okay, so Wiki education in the Philippines. So we, the Filipino community, formalized our education program under Wiki Education Philippines or Wiki Edu PH. So we created 2 organizations for high school students and a professional club for teachers. So activities conducted are aligned to the mission and vision of Wikimedia movement with the help of coordinators. So we conducted education-related activities and projects like learning camps, training, seminar, workshops, and even conferences. Okay, before, actually, we've been doing more on just advocacy for different campaigns in education, but last year, we had formalized our program and created this group. So who are focused on implementing and creating content in Wikimedia projects. So we have first the Wiki Club Minalaba. It's a professional club of primary teachers. Now they are officially called Alliance for Open Education Collaboration Incorporated. We have the Kararayan National High School Wiki Club. So they are composed of students, senior high school students, and teachers. So they have already this set of officers who will lead and implementing on all activities. And last, we have the CBSUA Wiki Education. It is another program. And this club is composed of students and teachers in university. So they integrate Wikimedia in their instruction and research.
So we can utilize the free contents on Wikimedia in different ways. So in this example, so these are different examples wherein we can use the Wikimedia contents, the photos, and the articles. Okay, next slide. So in this example, free licensed images are used in this module. So this particular photo here in circle, this is me in 2014. So this free license photo is used in this lesson in viewing material. Next slide. Next slide. So, during the pandemic, the Department of Education utilized self-learning modules, and we are happy to know that the Department of Education utilized content on Wikipedia before they do not use our content. Okay, next slide. So this is one of my video lessons wherein I utilize the different articles on Wikipedia, not just in Wikipedia, but in different projects. So here, use as an example in factual text, a recipe from Wikibooks, and there's another one, a biography from Wikipedia, and then the last one is a Wikicap campaign on Meta, as an example. So in literary text, I use a digitized fable from Wikisource. And the last one, this is an article on a local dish from Wikipedia, as an example. So here in science in grade 10, so we have here contributed photos from Wikimedia Commons used as examples in the lesson plate tectonics. So interestingly, my contributed photo as Wikiloud's Earth Philippines was utilized in this module, right? And several other photographs were used in this particular lesson. Thank you. Next slide. So here in the 21st century literature from the Philippines and the world, you see a content from Wikipedia that is used to introduce the subject matter. Okay, next slide. And here are local writers featured in the lesson. Okay. And the content on Wikipedia are credited in the modules. So here are other examples in philosophy. Okay. So we can utilize in our lesson the content on different Wikimedia projects. We only need to be creative. Okay. So here are the students of Maria Glenda presenting in their 21st century literature class. Okay. And here are my colleagues. They are presenting their outputs during one of our in-service training on how to use the content on Wikipedia in lessons, in activity sheets, and the daily lesson plans. Okay, so we started, we first introduced Wikipedia in the academic back in 2008. I was still an instructor in college then, so that was the first time that I introduced Wikipedia to my students. So Philippine community started their outreach activities in public school in 2015 in Minalapa, where I teach. So in 2021, Philwiki was among the 3 affiliates who piloted the Reading Wikipedia in the classroom. So here, this is during our online in-service trainings where I promoted the Reading Wikipedia in the classroom. And we also distributed modules produced by the Wikimedia Foundation. Okay, at the Department of Education. So we formed a wiki club, that is Wiki Club Minalapa, and now we formalized it as the Alliance for Open Education Collaboration. Okay, just to review the formation of the Alliance for Education Open Education Collaboration, we started back in 2015 where we distributed offline DVD among 25 elementary schools. So during the pandemic, we had this Wikilearns art painting, mural painting activity, and the dissemination of Reading Wikipedia in the classroom teachers' guides. And currently, we were doing the in-service trainings where we incorporate our campaigns and others. And we also invite our members to join Wikipedia Day celebrations, wiki conferences, and the most recent conferences that we had is the Wikicommons PA's conference.
All right, so as an English teacher, I sometimes get invited to become one of the panelists for the final defense for practical research students. So my main focus is on checking the grammar and then the proper citation, like the APA format. So one of our projects where I was invited and Irvin was also invited is in Pararay National High School. Those are grade 11 and grade 12 students. And then after that, we were able to establish a wiki club. We're very delighted that they enjoyed the activities. We tried to make it as fun as possible and then be creative with it. And then after that, it was followed by a wiki camp, in a mini wiki camp here down below. So hopefully we will be able to adapt that into other schools because us 3 were from different schools and the other teachers are also from different schools throughout the region. Yeah, that's the seminar workshop on writing a research paper. The theme was Wikipedia Unlocked, navigating, validating, and citing information for practical research. Yeah. So one of the topics was looking for relevant materials, which was discussed by Irvin, and then I discussed the APA format and proper citation, the reference, and sort of that. Yes. So those were some of the activities, and then Marife over here, beside me is the chairperson of Wiki Education. Okay, so as teachers, we need to innovate or be creative enough in our activities or go beyond the 4 corners of our classroom. So we have this Wiki Quest, the journey, the world of wikis. So here, if you have a large number of learners, you can group them around 3 to 5 groups. So the aim of this activity is to complete a set of tasks related to wiki collaboration by exploring the open educational resources and getting familiarized with some of the basic actions in contributing to the project. So I have here, for example, that one, fix it. So participants may randomly choose an article in English or Tagalog or even in Bicol and fix a grammatical or spelling errors. Okay, next slide. Another one is transcribe it. This one is more a Bicol Beat source, so the participants may randomly choose one page on Bicol Beat source, which they must proofread or correct some errors. Next. This one is identify it. So participants must identify all of the logos from Wikimedia projects and their symbol or purpose. That's part of the invitation. So categorize, I asked them to categorize the images and Wikimedia commons. That's the best part, actually. The screening time. You know, teenagers, they love to hang around. So we rented a video kit and then asked them to give them time to play and to have fun in the swimming pool. Next slide, please.
So just a review, the CNHS week law was formed not just over a year, but it's actually started from 2014 to 20 started from 2014. Teachers from Carolina National High School participated in different activities of the community, Wikipedia community. So during the pandemic, some of the teachers participated in different campaigns like Wiki Lobster, Wiki Loves Monuments. So now we are having seminar workshops in writing paper, research paper led by senior high school students and also the Wiki camp. And we love to do this. We would like to do this the following school year. Okay. So now for our third Wiki club, this is the Central Bicol State University of Agriculture. They took a pioneering step by organizing an education program which focused on integrating Wikimedia in instruction, research, extension, and production services in collaboration with PhilWiki and the Bicol Wiki community. So here is one of their extracurricular activities during their literary festival held last month. They integrated translation. So the participants translated articles, and also there's also another category wherein the participant created or started an article. So they focus on the local colors. So they focus on their local knowledge. So here is the rubrics where we use this in judging the entries. Okay, next slide. So this is Jerome Hippolyton, our coordinator at the university. So here is its class in research, and he required his students to complete the module. So we have a Wikimedia module on the Wikimedia dashboard. So he asked his students to complete those modules before they could complete the academic requirements. So the CBSJ Wiki Education actually started back in 2012, where students and faculty members from the university they've been joining our activities. So during the pandemic, we had the tutorials, the yellow paper activities, and other campaigns. So now, just last year, we started the Wiki Education program at CBHQA last October 2023. And recently, the LIT test. Okay. Now for the outcomes,
Yes, my project is focused on women and improving the representation of women in Wikipedia articles because majority of our members in the Wiki community are women. So we decided to create Wiki Women Philippines. So this is the impact of our activities. It's a long journey, but we started documenting it since 2019 to 2024. So we use the dashboard here. And so we were able to create these things. There were 6 programs up. There were 56 editors. And then we were able to make a total impact from Mafet's projects. 860,000 words added, 362,000 article views, 1.68 thousand articles edited, and articles created were 1.18 thousand. So, and then this one, this is my project. I've been able to organize 2 projects. The one is November last year, and the other one is recently concluded last April this year. So we were able to create a total of 198 articles last year and then 346 articles this year. So we try to add as much as we can, and by the end of the program, last year we were able to recruit 6 teachers, women participants, and then this year we were able to recruit 2, and then there are more teacher educators who are still interested. So by the end of May, we will be expecting 3 more teachers to join us.
here are some of our earlier activities during the WikiCap. No, these are the results in our WikiCap campaign, and in our Wiki tutorial in 2018, and during the Legal Wiki conference, where most of the attendees are teachers, and this is the ongoing CBSUA Wiki Education Program. It started in October and in June this year. Oh, okay.
Abalos.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's just so impressive when you look at so many resources that have been created just from those teams. And when you know the population across the Philippines, you know how many children or students that can influence when they have access to resources. So thank you as a teacher. That's really, really impressive. Questions? Sophia, I'll come now.
Thank you for sharing your thinking about implementing the same in New Zealand is just kind of beyond my thoughts at the moment. But seeing that it's the Philippines, it's almost like a reach. The one question that I really had back in my mind was, I was interested to hear your pros and cons about introducing Wikipedia as a search engine in the education system, and how you dealt with flashbacks could be from your colleagues or from parents as well. So I know that there's going to be post customs, everyone's involved when it comes to children. So I'm just quite interested to hear just how you dealt with it and what keeps you going.
Thank you for your question. It's actually very difficult to answer that. First with the pros. The positive ones were Since we are in the academy for quite a few years, we've made a lot of friends. So we actually invited some of our friends, our colleagues in the academy to join us. So, and after that, they were able to understand what we're doing, and then some decided to join us, and some they didn't. But it's okay. We're still friends. Thinking about the cons, actually, it's very hard because there were a lot of struggles along the way. Part of which is that we asked for a leave of absence, and then at first, personally, I wasn't allowed, but I pursued it, and then luckily I was able to get here. So we are not being paid in school, yeah, but we are passionate about what we're doing, and we believe in the movement. So I said we have to go. So thank you.
It's actually quite similar to Sophia's question, but I saw that you have implemented Wikipedia in a university, as I saw on the slides. I was just curious as to how that was received by professors in the university, because I've actually had discussions with professors at my own university and been very against Wikipedia as a source in any kind of way. So I'm just curious as to how that was received with the education board or anybody in the university.
After a very long time, we have finally found one university administrator who really believes in our mission and vision. So we were very thankful that finally there's someone who really captured what the essence of Wikimedia. So it also helps that you have a lot of friends in the academy, so you can convince them to your personal, you can convince them in person. So having a personality, having personal networks in the academy really helped. Because you don't have to really convince them.
Thanks for your presentation. I'm also from New Zealand. What I just want to hear a little bit about what the teachers got out of it, what you got out of it, like what you enjoyed, what kind of like filled you up in the project.
Our motivation is that see our goal to give free access to knowledge. So that's our motivation in promoting Wikipedia in the classroom. In my case, as a teacher, I always like to learn new things. And that's also one of the things I want my students to also learn. I want them to explore. Unfortunately, we came from a poor province. You know, Philippines is a third world country, so most of our students are quite poor. They don't have access to, you know, these kinds of things, and even computers were very scarce. I mean, we only have a few. So we try to the best of our abilities to, you know, bring it down to them as easily as possible. So instead of having them use the computers, if it's not enough, we try to be creative. So we actually bought our own projector, you know, laptops and everything. And sometimes we also have to pay for the Wi-Fi. Okay. The Wi-Fi in the Philippines is too slow. If you happen to be in the Philippines, you know what I mean.
My motivation, I actually a language advocate more than being a teacher. So I use Wikipedia as a platform to promote people. So that's my mother language. So basically, I love what I do. So it doesn't stop. So teachers are.
It's a noble profession.
So
Any other questions?
So my question is, as a teacher, how do you attract the students to participate in your programs, especially primary school students?
Currently, we don't have the education program for primary school pupils. Currently, we have for senior high school and college students. But in my case, I encourage my fellow primary school teachers in
So how do you attract them to join the programs?
so they are actually really curious why we do this. So they are right now they are watching us. So they also want the experience of what is it to be a contributor, to be okay.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Sorry if I'm asking you a quick question because I just have to move around between the rooms, but my question is kind of like what other than the technical issues, I know you guys are developing country while like Korea or Australia, those are the advanced ones. So other than technical problems, what's kind of most challenging to organize and like how can I bound the schools that you partner with? Yes, so especially I just want to know that how the schools are being attracted. I mean, not the students, the school or teachers.
Yeah, we start in our own school. So we start with our own circle of friends who are also teachers. So through that is an easier way instead of going to a random school and then teach on weekly.
I think that might be the story for a lot of education programs in other places too, that it starts with people that you already know, you said, you know, they know you, so they trust the program. But I think that's a challenge for us in the next few days to think about in our countries. We've got these programs, how do we grow to the next level where it's a bigger conversation, and how can we share things? So that was going to be my question, if no one else has one. Where do all your great resources live, and how could anyone else, because we teach in English, and those resources look like they will be useful to our schools as well. Are they in, do you have a website for them, or?
That's actually something we haven't pursued yet. But you gave us an idea, so probably we can incorporate it as part of the innovative research of our students, because we are teaching practical research 1, 2, there's actually some part of it within they are supposed to make an innovation. So some of our students, like in our school where I am teaching, my students in programming are actually creating websites. So actually, maybe that's a good idea that I can bring up to them and to the teachers as well, teaching program. May I just add to Young Jim's question earlier? You were asking how we talk to the schools, right? To the administrators. So we made a lot of letters. When I mean letters, very a lot. It was this is a product of very long 10 years in the making. Till we started in 2015, right? So we were just able to have this last year. So it's a very long process. We also connected with the LGU, the local government unit. And then we are thankful that our mayor is somewhat, open-minded and supportive. What we did is we showed him that we made an article about him in Wikipedia, in our own language. And then we invited him actually to attend the oath taking of the board members. So that's where we had a conversation, and then the rest is history. And when it comes to the administrators, we practically reach out to as much people as we can.
Yeah, I would like to add. I actually wrote an article about one of the professors at CBSUA, and the university administrator was very surprised to know that one of these professors are, on Wikipedia. So perhaps that is part of their interest. Just like in our partner LGU, so our city mayor is very delighted that he is on Wikipedia. So I think that's one way that's the interest.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And could you all thank Africa, Maria and Urban for getting us started in this? Thank you. It's a little bit early for afternoon break, but I think you deserve it. You've worked very hard today. So the return is, I should have that, is it 3:45? The return.
Yeah, sorry, but just want to let you know, we will be having the break, but at the same time, we will be starting a cultural performance at 3:30. So there will be another cultural performance at 3:30. So feel free to return to this hall with your food and enjoy the cultural performance from, once again, the Wikimedia Club from the Sandakan boarding school.
Ini boleh stop share screen mo? Ini perlu di end.
Great break. Once again, if I'm not sure you can hear me out there, but those outside, we're about to start our cultural performance soon. So please, you can come back into the hall. You can bring in your food if you want to, and enjoy two things at once. Kill two birds with one stone. Okay, so up next, we actually have another cultural performance, as I mentioned. This time, it will be the Inang dance. And they will be once again performed by the Wikimedia Boarding School Club, the Wikimedia Club in the Sanaka Boarding School. I've got to change down there. And so, if you guys are ready, let's welcome everyone.
Ini sudah on juga. Sudah. Kasih dulu tuh musiknya, udah pasti nanti.
Apologies, there's a bit of a technical difficulty. We'll just pretend that did not happen. Can we
Boleh datang sih boleh. Yang berminat untuk di luar. Yang tak masuk lagi di luar. Saya tak boleh nulis. Oh. Ada 4 minit dulu 4 minit sampai 6 kamu sakit yang paling panjang dia keras.
Okay, we give more time for those outside to come in. So you can invite your friends to be sent to the hall as we will be solving this technical issue as in a few minutes.
Tadi yang salah audio music salah music lain yang pakai jangan tak itu jangan sama ikutnya.
Hey, once again, I sincerely apologize for the technical issue. Let us present the Wikimedia Club from the Sandakan Boarding School. Thank you very much once again to the Wikimedia Club of the Standard Boarding School. Another big round of applause. Backwards twice. I forgot to do. So, that was it for the cultural performance. We have actually exceeded the time for our afternoon break, so I will pass on to the next moderator for the next session. Mia? Okay. So we will have a session on glam. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Ahmad. Okay, after drinking and drinking coffee, are you sleepy? Yeah. Oh no. But here Coca is also sleepy, I think. Okay, so maybe if I say disiapkan conference and then you answer Kota Kinabalu, okay? Okay. Disiapkan conference.
Kota Kinabalu.
Only 10,000 people lah, so 8 billion people ya. Okay. Disiapkan conference.
Kota Kinabalu.
Okay, I think now the eyes already waking up. Okay. Here we will dive into the interesting topic about GLAM, yeah, gallery, archives, gallery, library, archives, and museums. And we will have many speakers for this session. And before that, maybe I will introduce myself again. My name is Nia. I'm from Indonesia. And now I will be the host for the last session before we go to Mari Cultural Village. Yay!
Yay.
Okay. Maybe everyone could open the meta page for this session. So maybe you have a brief explanation about the presentation that we will have. Okay, so the first one, we will fly to a city, maybe a province in the Java Islands, and it is on the west. So we will invite, Teh Hayati, to the stage, yes. And also, the other one. Okay, so actually in Indonesia, we have a lot of names how to address a sister. Maybe in Malaysia you call Kak, right? Like for sister. For example, you can call Kak Taufik. It means like brother Taufik. And also for sister also can use Kak as well, right? Like Kak Jurina, for example. But in the Sundanese, so this presentation will be used Sundanese, and we will have interpreter also here, so no worries. So now we will learn about Sundanese language. And personally, I don't speak the language, so I will learn as well the language about Sundanese. Yeah, but in the Sundanese, we don't say Kak to call sister, right? How to say that? Teh. Oh yeah, teh. Actually, teh means the tea. Yeah, but in Sundanese, teh means the sister. Okay, are you ready? The interpreter also ready? Okay. So the presentation would be around 20 until 30 minutes, and I will give you a sign if the time already come out. Okay.
Oke, Sampurasun. Ida Windy, nyariosku bahasa Sunda.
So hello everyone, I'm going to tell you in Sudanese.
Saya sengaja menggunakan bahasa Sunda ini untuk memperkenalkan bahasa ibu saya, yaitu bahasa Sunda.
I deliberately use the Sudanese language to introduce the language native to me, the Sudanese language.
Atau teman-teman. Di dia simkuring bakal ngaduikeun materi ngeunaan wiki naskah. Nah, di dia wiki naskah nyaeta digitalisasi. Naskah salaku upaya pikeun nyadiakeun sumber daya pikeun kabenaran mekarkeun wiki pabuka.
So I'm going to present about Wiki Naskah, visualization project to develop the resources about the Sudanese manuscripts, mainly about the manuscripts. We call them Wiki Papukon project.
Nah, di dia aya kasangtukang atau sababaraha masalah anu bakal di garis bawahi di antaranya nyaeta wiki pabukon atanapi wiki source bahasa Sunda nembe keluar di inkubator salaku proyek anyar di proyek Wikimedia bahasa Sunda.
So I'm going to present several issues, and one of them is the fact that the Sudanese wiki source just recently being hatched from the Wikimedia incubators as a new project.
Next. Ya. Jadi wiki pabukon teh mangrupa proyek anyar anu nembe kaluar ieu topasna atanapi halaman muka di proyek wiki pabukon atau wiki source bahasa Sunda.
So Wiki Pabukon is the Sudanese term for wiki source. So it's a localized term of wiki source in Sudanese Wiki Pabukon, which is a newly born project hatched recently from the incubator.
Next. Masalah anu kadua nyaeta seueurna naskah-naskah atanapi manuskrip bahasa Sunda anu masih keneh terbengkalai atanapi seueur anu nyampak di perpustakaan tapi teu acan didigitalisasikeun.
This is the second problem. There are a lot of Sudanese manuscripts and Sudanese textual sources that are, as we see here in the pictures, are only laying in libraries and perhaps getting eaten by worms and so on. And so, yeah.
Next. Masalah anu saterasna nyaeta kurangna atanapi saeutikna variasi konten anu aya di Wikisource bahasa Sunda atanapi Wiki Pabukon. Ieu teh lantaran sakali deui Wiki Pabukon teh mangrupa proyek anyar anu nembe kaluar di inkubator.
This is the third problem is the minimum amount and less overpriced content in Sudanese Wikisource, and of course it's also because the Sudanese Wikisource is a newly released project that has its own site.
Saterasna nyaeta kurangna kamampu ti para kontributor atau ti para pengguna Wikisource pikeun ngedit atau kontribusi di Wikisource bahasa Sunda atanapi Wiki Pabukon.
This is also another problem is that the lack of skills of the Indonesian and Sudanese contributors to contribute in Wikisource, and particularly for the Sudanese Wikisource.
Nah, strategi naon anu dilakukan ku simkuring nyaeta salah sahijina ngayakeun pendekatan atanapi ngobrol sareng instansi-instansi anu terkait patali sareng ayana gawe bareng salah sahijina digitalisasi.
So these are the strategies that we are trying to do to overcome all of these problems. And one of them is we try to reach out and to
Ya, gawe bareng sareng instansi terkait, angkatan sareng digitalisasi.
reaching out and trying to do some cooperations with some related institutions who are interested in doing digitalization for their collections.
Anu saterusna nyaeta ngumpulkeun data-data ngeunaan naskah-naskah anu berbahasa Sunda aya sabaraha naskahna supaya katingali jumlah data saperti.
And we collect the details mainly about the number of available texts in those institutions, so that we know the amount, and we know the amount and we know the scale of the possible fundraising that we are going to take.
Anu saterusna nyaeta ngawanuhkeun wiki pabukon atanapi wiki naskah ka kontributor-kontributor anu sakirana potensial kanggo kontribusi di wiki pabukon.
Introducing the existence of Wikisource into potential volunteers and potential contributors.
Saterusna nyaeta perubahan naon nu hoyong dipiharep di antarana nyaeta ayana atanapi seueurna jumlah naskah digital anu aya dina Wikisource mangrupa naskah digital bahasa Sunda.
These are several our research changes made in this project is that one of them is we hope that we will increase the availability of the text of in Sudanese language.
Anu kadua nyaeta nambihanana jumlah kontributor di Wiki Pabukon atanapi nambihana aktivitas ngedit di Wiki Pabukon atanapi Wikisource bahasa Sunda.
And at the same time, with those digital activity increase, we also hope to increase the activity of our users and our volunteers in Wiki Pabukon Wikisource.
Abdi atanapi simkuring di dieu teu nyalira disaleman oge ku rerencangan simkuring anu live ngalakuan Zoom, jadi materi saterusna bakal dilajengkeun ku Saiful Hamdani salaku pupuh proyek di Wiki Naskah.
I'm not alone in presenting this project today. I'm joined by my friend Saiful Hamdani, who is going to join via Zoom in presenting the next part of the session. Who is also it's not a chair, it's like leader of the project.
Hatur nuhun Hayati, suara saya terdengar?
Thank you Hayati. Saiful, simkuring media biasa. Bisa diminutian?
Nuhun Hayati, hatur nuhun Mbak Rima. Oke, suara saya dapat dipastikan masuk ya? Biasa. Oke. Sekali deui hatur nuhun Hayati, hatur nuhun Mbak Rima, hatur nuhun ge sadayana anu tos hadir dina kegiatan penjelasan mengenai Wiki Naskah.
Everyone who has been attending our explanation in this conference about Wiki Naskah.
Tepangkeun simkuring Saiful salaku pupuh dina kegiatan Wiki Naskah 2023.
Introduce myself. My name is Saiful. I am the leader of the Wiki Naskah project.
Dina danget ayeuna simkuring baris ngajelaskeun ngeunaan naon anu geus dipigawe salila lumaksana kegiatan Wiki Naskah.
In this occasion, I will explain what is being done supporting the Wiki Naskah project.
Proyek ieu kabagi jadi 3 kegiatan. Nu kahiji nyaeta digitalisasi, lokakarya jeung kompetisi Wikisource.
This project is divided into 3 parts of activities. The first one is visualization, workshop, and biasa diulang saya itu pengakhiran digitalisasi lokakarya misalnya.
Kompetisi.
Competition of proofreading competition of the Wikisource.
Nu kahiji nyaeta digitalisasi. Digitalisasi dilaksanakan di hiji institusi klaim, nu tos dijelaskeun ku TAI, nyaeta aji prosedi salila 14 poe.
The digitalization is carried out as has been explained by TAI before. We cooperate with the in this instance we cooperate with the iProcedy library.
Beda jeung informasi anu aya dina proposal, tim mutuskeun digitalisasi di hiji tempat, alih-alih digitalisasi di tempat anu sejen.
So what we were doing is quite it's kind of different than we were proposing. Is that we did the digitalization project in cooperation for just one institution instead of in some multiple institutions.
Maksudna jangan menyesuaikan anggaran anu diterima.
It was an adjustment for the budget that was approved.
Buku-buku anu dikumpulkan diseleksi ngadasar lisensi hak ciptana, nu mana lolobana nyaeta terbitan di pemerintah Indonesia.
So most of the text that were being utilized, we take care of noticing what kind of copyright that they still might have. So most of the text we end up digitized were text that was published by the government of Indonesia.
Seperti anu katingali dina gambar, proses digitalisasi dipigawe nggunakeun 2 kamera ku 2 operator jeung hiji alat scan ku 2 operator oge.
As can be viewed in the pictures, the visualization process was done using several tools, and we have 2 operators and also another 2 operators in the computer interface.
Hasil tina kagiatan ieu satuluyna diunggah kana Wikimedia Commons sabari nyieun butir Wikidata jeung nyieun indeks di Wikisource.
And the results of these activities, we uploaded all the digitalized text to Wikimedia Commons and also created their items in Wikipedia.
Ikut majalah heubeuh, novel atau carita radio, tim inisiasi teu ngunggah heula kana dina jangka pendek sabari ngakaji lisensi anu dipake.
Bisa diulang saya.
Ikut majalah heubeuh, novel atau carita radio, tim inisiasi teu ngunggah heula dina jangka pendek sabari ngakaji gitu ngeunaan hak cipta.
So in digitalizing some of materials, there are some materials about radio dramas and also about stories, and in doing that we divide the activities into some parts. I mean, all the while we were taking a closer look at what copyright status that they still might have.
Di akhir kagiatan, sakabeh buku digital anu geus di-scan diserahkeun ka perpustakaan Aji Prosidi.
And of course, at the end of the project, we also give the result of the digitalization into the library institution itself.
Nu kadua nyaeta lokakarya Wikisource. Lokakarya diayakeun secara tatap muka di Bandung. Sanajan kitu pamateri teu bisa hadir secara tatap muka, sehingga formasi kegiatan diganti jadi saluran video konferensi daring.
So the workshop was held in Bandung. Bandung is the major city, the capital city of the West Java province, Indonesia. But the main trainer of the workshop couldn't attend the workshop physically, but so they end up joining the workshop via Zoom.
Salila acara pamilon diberi materi ngenaan proyek Wikisource secara umum, tata cara nguji baca, jeung ngenakeun penulisan aksara cacarakan.
In the workshop, of course, the participants are were trained how to interact with the interface of the resource, how to do the proofreads, how to do the what do you call it in English when you transcribing of the text in the resource.
Sebagian pamilon oke diberi can biasanya di dia sebagian pamilon can biasa menguji baca cacarakan, jadi lebih loba ngedit dina aksara Latin.
Sabaraha teksna dari cacarakan aksara Latin. So some of the material texts are actually not in Latin script, so it's in the traditional cacarakan script. And some of our participants couldn't read them, and so they end up focusing on the ones that they read together using Latin scripts.
Di akhir sesi pamilon oge dibere sakelas informasi ngeunaan kompetisi uji baca anu bakal diselenggarakeun.
And we also inform the participants about the proofing competitions that were about to help.
Nu katilu nyaeta kompetisi uji baca.
The third one is the competition itself.
Lumangsung salila 12 poe secara umum, kompetisi bisa diluan ku saha wae.
We held it for 12 days and we opened the participation in the regional topic.
Aya 10 buku anu dikompetisikan, 2 aksara cacarakan jeung 8 aksara Latin.
There were 10 books materials, all that were used for the competition. 2 of them were in cacarakan, the traditional script, and 8 of them were in Latin script.
Nu mana sakabe buku-buku dicokot tina hasil digitalisasi.
And that all of the books used for the competition were the results of the digitalization.
Oke. Satuluina simpur ngajelaskeun ngeunaan naon anu jadi hasil tina kagiatan ieu.
And now I will explain what are the results of this project and all the activities.
Sakumaha anu ditinggal di dina layar.
And as seen on the screen in front of you.
Hasil ngeunaan jumlah kahiji nyaeta partisipan. Target awal 40 hiji partisipan, menangkan hasil 27 partisipan.
Yeah, we have our initial target here, and now we have our result here for the participants.
Satulina ngeunaan jumlah editor, target awal 10 editor, menangkan hasil leuwih loba 14 editor.
And for editor, we set the target number.
Satulina nyaeta organizer, target awal 8 organizer, menangkan hasil 10 organizer.
Also for the number of the organizers.
Satulina nyaeta hasil ngeunaan anu pakali jeung Wikimedia proyek Wikimedia. Nyaeta Wikimedia Commons. Target awal 20 berkas, menangkan hasil leuwih loba 70 berkas.
So in the results of the uploaded or in the edited pages and items in Wikimedia projects, we have more results of uploaded files in Wikimedia Commons.
Nu kadua nyaeta Wikidata menangkan hasil 24 tina target awal 20 item atau 20 data.
Also for the number of items in Wikidata, we also exceeded our target.
Jeung Wikisource target 3.045 halaman menangkan hasil leuwih loba 4.815 halaman.
And of course, our result for the creative pages in the Sinari Wiki source also received our tracking.
Tatuluna metrik anu penting sejena nyata Wikimedia Commons. Target awal 4.200 halaman, mengenai hasil lebih loba 7.460 halaman.
So these are the creative pages in Wikimedia Commons. We also set our target almost more than how.
Satuluna nyata naon anu bisa dicokot pelajaran tina kegiatan Wikinaskah ieu.
So what can we learn from this project?
Muka hiji nyaeta apal karena potensi kuantitas jumlah naskah anu digitalisasi, bahwa hak ciptana bahwa geus beak atawa masih dina lisensi Creative Commons.
The first one is that we end up knowing what are the copyright status of these old texts that we digitalize and we have access.
Oge apal karena ketertarikan setiap kontributor di Wikipabukon.
And of course, we know about the rate of interest, the interest rate from our volunteers and from our contributors who contribute to this management resource.
Tatuluina apal karena tingkat kesulitan uji baca naskah-naskah di Wikipabukon.
And by that, we also able to learn about the difficulties or maybe any disadvantage that they may have experienced in contributing to this management research.
Terakhir tim kuring ngeunaan naon anu rek dilakukan saterusna kaharep.
So apa is about what will we do for the next part of the project?
Hasil digitalisasi atau kegiatan sejen di Wikinaskah bisa dibutuhkan di rencana kegiatan anu sarupa di mangsa anu bakal datang.
So we still have we still have a lot of not used text other than just being uploaded, and those can still be used for other activities or perhaps other competition in the future.
Oke, majalah-majalah hasil digitalisasi di poe kaharep satulina bisa digunakan yang bahan seperti clipping digital atau pembelajaran sejen ke kontributor.
And all of those uploaded text can also be used such as in clipping or perhaps in learning materials for students.
Sakitu anu ti simkuring bisa sampaikan simkuring serahkeun deui ka TAI atur nuhun sadaya.
That's all from me. Thank you. I will give it back to.
Ada buat saya pun satrasna nyata contoh tina pendapat.
So we will present some accounts of our project and activities.
Dia ayah contoh nyata judul bukunya Pai Kapaksa terbitan tahun 1868 dugitan 1870.
These are several editions of the book Pai Kapaksa. Buku atau nanti majalah teh?
Buku novel.
Oh, it's a novel.
Anu dibaca di radio.
Oh, so it's actually a novel which used to be read in radio. Very common pastime in Indonesia. This one are from 1969 to 1970s. Pai Kapaksa, the title itself means forced to die.
Selanjutnya ia ayah si buntung jago tutugan sami novel anu dibacakan di radio bersambung tapi ia seri na tak acan lengkap.
So these are another also radio novel that used to be read in radios. Si buntung jago tutugan. Okay, I speak a different dialect. I should have said this before. I forgot. I speak a different dialect. I can say, well, I speak the Western dialect. Tutugan artinya
Tutugan itu
tutugan means something. So this means buntung the mountain warrior. Yeah, perhaps.
upami sobat wiki dia yang ningali dari hasil upload di Wikimedia Commons anu laku seger biasa dicek di kategori wiki digitalisasi wiki naskah 2020.
You can check all of these collection that we have digitalized in commons category digitalisasi
wiki naskah 2020.
Digitalisasi wiki naskah 2020.
Rupina, iya aya contoh deui 40 berkas, iya seseurna novel atanapi carita babad. Carita babad nyaeta carita khas Sunda.
So these are another collections of what we have digitalized, and these are mostly novels, but also ancient stories. We call them babad. Ancient tradition also makes they are usually published. Ya karena pasti mendapatkan banyak 1800 bukan. So these are the ballads are usually have been published like 1900s. Okay. Yeah.
Hatur nuhun, terima kasih, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Saiful and Hayati already joined us. Maybe we can give applause as well to the interpreter. What do you feel?
Oh my God, already.
Okay, hatur nuhun, terima kasih. Okay, so line up we will have the next presenters. So from Bandung, we will fly to Australia. We will have Belinda and Alice. Okay, so the stage is yours. Maybe 10 minutes.
I think we have slides. I know many of you. My name's Belinda. I'm the Executive Officer for Wikimedia Australia. And I'd also love to introduce Alice, who is one of our fairly new, she's been with us since September, staff for Wikimedia Australia. She's our Education and Projects Coordinator. And Alice and I both have a background in libraries. So we have chosen something today from the GLAM sector to share with you, something that Alice has been working on since she started with us. So over to Alice, and we'll get started. Thank you. I'm going to try and condense things a little bit. And I'm just going to quickly say that this is scarier than running an editable. So thank you. So we can go to the next slide. So this project relates to the Northern Territory. So for those of you who aren't familiar, that's it there marked in red, just in case that wasn't obvious. So the Northern Territory was, and still is, very underrepresented on Wikipedia. So it has quite a small population compared to its size, only about 250,000 people. And when the project called UNCUT ended in 2019, there were only 1,700 pages about it. And one thing that makes the entry different to other parts of Australia is that Australia's population is about 26 million, and 4% of those people identify as being Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander, whereas in the NT, that's 30% of the population is Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander. So that means the NT is underrepresented, so First Nations people. Sorry, let's go back to that one for a second. And this project is actually how I got involved in Wikipedia. Now I'm realizing everyone probably understood that slide, so we can go to the next one. So in 2019, I was working at the Alice Springs Public Library, who we're now partnering with. That's about as pretty as it looks, to be honest. So Alice Springs is a fairly unique place. So it's been known as virtual for a very long time. And the Aranda are the traditional owners of this place. And Alice Springs is the white fella name. And as you can see there, that can be quite hotly contested. So we reached out to the Alice Springs Public Library about digitising images from their Central Australian Historical Images collection. So that's 29 collections of images and about 3,000 of them in total. And just kind of getting them started on getting them out online. There's currently they're only available on the internet systems in the library. So you can go to the next slide. So many photos of First Nations people taken over the last 150 years have been collected without the consent of First Nations people. And in many cases, the images of the people depicted were taken of them completely against their will, depicting them in ways they had no control over, and they had no say in the way that the images were used. Many images have been widely published without permission, leading to distress in communities. It is now recognised, and there is a move to change this, which Belinda will talk about in a moment. So, to attempt to address this, the library received funding from the Regional Museums grant to undergo a cultural sensitivity assessment. And we did that with Colleen Powell. So she was the Indigenous Support Officer at the library. She was an Aranda woman from Natalia and Lorna, and Braden Kanjira. So Braden is an elder from Hermannsburg, and he does a lot of international work with repatriation of the Aranda cultural materials, primarily through the Australia Research Centre. He's an amazing man. It was an amazing project. So it was a fairly lengthy process, and it was really rewarding. But basically what we did is we went through I was a silent button clicker. We went through each and every image and marked them into a traffic light system is what we called it. So red for restricted access, orange for available but with a warning, and green for this is completely open access. And based on this information, the library started really pursuing ways to get these images online, which so far has been unsuccessful. So I'm just going to hand over to Belinda. Talk about this. Okay, so just briefly, just before this might be of interest to some people here today. So with regards to cultural sensitivity, Wikimedia Australia has been very strong supporters of and users of and referring to the guidelines for First Nations collections, which I think we can go to the next slide. Thank you. Yep, that's fine. So this is to help determine the best actions and outcomes for our First Nations and Indigenous people for images and resources about them. So these guidelines were published in 2023. They're open access. I think we have a link on what we have to see, but there is a link. You can access this. It's an open document. They were written to assist the Australian library and archive sector with reparative and anti-racist description practices. So the objective of the guidelines is to help shift library and archive practices and to ensure descriptions are respectful, that they're accurate and considerate of historical biases, and contribute to a more equitable representation of First Nations communities, perspectives and experiences. And it also helps library and archive staff understand and prioritise Indigenous cultural and intellectual property, and through updating the records by reviewing them and checking them, it makes First Nations content more discoverable. So this has been an excellent resource that means that we recommend if you're looking for something similar to this, it's a freely available open document. So as part of Wikimedia Australia's commitment to First Nations content more generally, and informing we've been using it to inform our community and to overcome biases evident on Wikimedia platforms. So Alice has created a page on our Wikimedia Australia website with a range of guides on First Nations content and resources. The collection of resources includes links to preferred terminology, style guides, evaluation and selections, resources, data sets, maps, referencing protocols, and a couple of wiki templates. Believe it or not, it's not an exhaustive list, but it's updated as new resources are discovered or developed. We've also commissioned 2 reports in Australia. The Wikimedia Australia First Nations Metadata Act-to-Learn Protocols for Description and Access was in 2023, and we have a very soon to be released focus group report on with First Nations people. So there's a new report coming out soon. But for those of you who want further information around cultural sensitivity of First Nations, please come and see us after the presentation. Hopefully we'll have time for a few quick questions at the end of the session, but you're welcome to come and chat to us at any time over the weekend. I'll be here if you want more detailed information. So I'll hand back to Alice now and she'll move on and cover the process of uploading the library's images to Wiki Commons. So back to you, Alice. So once the images were uploaded, were reviewed for cultural sensitivity, we then had a mission to this process. Forgot to say earlier, we excluded all images that were red, obviously, but we also excluded the ratified one. And that's sometimes what ends up. So this is the process that we undertook. Currently, it is been Wikimedia Australia doing the uploading of the work, but we've been in continuous conversations with the public library and provide the procedures, and they're really keen to get started doing this themselves. And they're amazed that these images have now been viewed as a whole more than 500,000 times. We've got on to that. And I'm going to try and generalise those procedures a bit more and make those available as well. They're simplified in the moment. So we can move on to the next slide. So the first collection we started with was the Donald and Isabel Dowling collection. So this was 241 images in total. So it covers the period between 1938 and 1948 in Alice Springs. And that was a period of huge change where the population went from about 3,000 people to 8,000 during the war. It became a major service town. Next one, please. As a part of uploading these images to Commons, they were also added to 28 of them were added to Wikipedia pages. And for many of the pages they were the first images that were available for them, so added a significant amount of historical value. Images were also linked with Wikidata, and some new Wikidata items were created as well. I'm not great at Wikidata, but there are other people who can make them better. So the next one. I also am an editor and I've been meaning to write this one for a long time. So I created this page to feature some of the images that I thought were really cool. It sounds really dry, but Jail's has a very interesting history. Anyway, let's move on from me and then So with the first round of images being so successful, I moved on to the Anton Feynman collection. So this one was smaller, 81 colour. So they're 81 colour images taken by an Austrian traveller between 1957 and 1958. So he worked as a truck driver in Chainman. I don't really know what that means. To improve the Stuart Highway. So that's a road that runs right through Alice Springs. These images present a really joyful picture of Alice Springs, and sometimes that's not a story that you hear. So street boxing, that's Anton himself wearing a Speedo. And that's a big part of why these images were selected, the joyful part. They were a favourite part of the favourite collection of people to view at the library. And here's the one for this one. So these images didn't slot into Wikipedia as directly as the other ones did. They were much more people, places and things like that. But they've added a lot of information and value to 2 pages in particular. one Pichi Richie Sanctuary. You can read the articles, they're complicated. And the next one is, next one please, Frederick Wilhelm Albrecht. So there was no photos of him previously available, and we were able to share some, about 5 images there of him total preaching at the church. And I think that's, oh, sorry, just briefly, these are the statistics. It's about 500,000. Moving on. We're doing more stuff. Moving on. And the carpet. Thank you. We can make mine, will we? Yeah, excellent. Thank you. So I'll take over to the next. Please.
Let's give applause to Alice and Yoyo. Thank you so much for showing us the beautiful images and also thank you so much. Yes. Okay, maybe are you waiting for going to the village now? No, we will have the last presentation. Is it interesting that Lisa already prepared? Do you need help? Do you need help?
Hello.
Okay. So maybe you'll have this around 7 minutes.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Kia ora koutou, kola wanaka, malawi nei nei, whakalopa lahi atu, Serenada te Bhutan. Warm ECA greetings. It's customary in Aotearoa, New Zealand, to say a few words to settle and bring the group together. So we're going to have a little bit of a pause. You may close your eyes if you want to just listen to this poem that I've written. Often these are in this is called a karakia and is a prayer in Te Reo Māori, but this one is in English. You can do the next slide. Yeah. Wind moves the leaves of the trees. Birds call to each other. Earth turns, tumbles and slides. Storms sweep mountains. We share our breath. We share our histories. We share the breath of our great-grandparents and their parents' parents. We share our heartbeats. We are ancestors too. Water flows through valleys, through heavens, through creatures on the seabed. Water flows through us. We breathe in, we dance, it rains. We breathe out, water, vapour and music. Earth turns, tumbles and slides. Stars glimmer in the dark sky. We breathe in, we smile. We breathe out, warmth and rhythm. And so we've done a pretty good job of the day. It's been quite a big day, and I've been given 10 minutes, and my presentation is 18 minutes, so I'll do my best. My ancestors are English and Scottish. I was born and grew up in Te Whanganui Atara, Wellington, in New Zealand, on the land of the nations Te Āpiawa, Taranaki Whanganui and Ngāti Toa. I volunteer my time as a member of the Wikimedia Aotearoa New Zealand Committee, and I'm very grateful to have received a scholarship to be here, so thank you Wikimedia Foundation. I work in the arts as a designer and a producer of theatre. I have worked a lot in contemporary and Māori and Pacifica theatre and dance. I've studied Māori language. I've initiated a few Wikipedia projects, and so today I'm going to talk to you about a few of the projects that I've initiated and a few other goings on in New Zealand. So it's not everything, it's a little bit of a taste. I want to create and build editing communities, and I think that we're developing and trialling some interesting things in Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm also talking on Sunday about WANS, our committee, the Wikipedia Aotearoa New Zealand committee. Yeah, next slide. So I'm going to give you a very brief history of Aotearoa New Zealand. This is the context. So, yeah, I want to build communities around us in New Zealand where we know our history, and there's been a bit of a gap for Africa white people like myself and migrant communities in New Zealand to know about our history, about our colonial history. Especially like New Zealand, the New Zealand history curriculum has only been taught in schools from this year, as my Tamaki colleagues said earlier. So this kind of happened after a protest by some young people that New Zealand students can learn about the history of their own country. 700 to 800 years ago, migrations came to and from the Pacific islands of the Pacific Islands of Aotearoa. And before that, the region of the Pacific Ocean, one of the Cuba people came from this region. Yeah, that shows up in languages. Yesterday at the Wiktionary workshop at the library, we came across a word, I came across the word in Hadsan, fruit, uva, and in Te Reo Māori it's hua. So yeah, it's a beautiful kind of connection in the languages across the region. Māori, the indigenous peoples of New Zealand, have an oral history which traces their people hundreds of years back to the ocean-going vehicle boats, waka. The first encounter face-to-face with European people in 1769 was with Captain Cook and his crew. Sadly, they killed 4 or 5 of the local people. It's described in Wikipedia. In 1839, a British corporation set sail with settlers to colonise New Zealand and to make money. A few years earlier, some Māori nations had a decree of nationality here for Whaka Pūtanga, partly so they could get their flag for the international trading operations. In 1840, there was a treaty signed between indigenous nations of New Zealand and the Queen of England, Te Tiriti or Waitangi. There's quite a lot of misinformation about Te Tiriti out there, and the current government's stirring up a few colonial myths and trying to repress Māori language. So in my small little way, I use Wikipedia and Wikidata to bring various joyful and truthful stories to counter the myths. I really like the accessible and open knowledge that Wikipedia does so well. I love the weaving of people, places and events that Wikipedia does so well. I love the changeable and collaborative nature of Wikipedia. So obviously I like thinking and talking about colonial history, but I also love celebrating arts, artists and activists. After attending Wikimania in Singapore last year, I decided to set up a little regular group of drop-in space. I wanted to see if this could build a community of editors. I wanted the space to be creative, and I booked a music studio. Next slide, please. So here's Kasi Balu and I having a catch-up at my book club. Some of you will have met Kasi online or maybe in Singapore. Kasi wanted to talk, he dropped in, he wanted to talk for an application he was applying for writers residency at a university, and he was thinking if he could use Wikipedia as part of that, so we don't know if he's got the residency yet. I showed him a little zine I've made, and I've made some little things that you can get later if you want. You can look at the outcomes of this kind of like book club on the link. I've kind of like detailed what happened. Yeah, the next version of this, I want to approach the local library in my suburb. I want to build a community with the people who are interested in the same subjects as me. So I'm going to keep investigating ways to try and share and show, and I have lots of ideas at the time. Next slide. this is some of the past projects that I was involved with. So I guess my community, my people are in the arts and performing arts. I got some Wikimedia funding for performing arts Aotearoa project. And that's kind of an ongoing thing which I work on and trying to figure out how to attract other people to be part of it. The people who I write articles about and who know about the arts as well, so grateful for what I'm doing. And the other project is the Pacifica. So the Creative New Zealand, the government arts funding organisation, run an annual awards ceremony. And that was at the heart of the Pacifica project that Sophia, who's here, and Cassie were part of. I learned so much from researching and writing in Wikipedia. I had amazing conversations with people. My politics mean I seek out Māori and Pacifica authors for the citations. So I feel like I'm amplifying those voices. And I'm keen to kind of figure out how to support and encourage different editors into the different projects. Next slide. The other community I'm part of, the people in New Zealand working in the anti-racism and anti or Waikato education space. There's been a strong history of non-Māori in the space since the 1960s. And I'm kind of consulting with the workshops they go to and things. I'm doing read articles, and so I wrote an article about Litzy Near who passed recently. And she was one of, a deep thinker, an advocate. And I put that out in the community. People were so grateful. And I got a few beautiful long messages, not usable as a source, but a lovely demonstration of people's love for her and what she was part of creating in New Zealand as a community worker. So I get quite a lot of that anecdotal information. Okay, so I'm going to change tack and go quickly through these other projects. This one I thought might be of interest about national parks. I'm sure there's many beautiful treated places in this region. Marshall, who started this project, is part of the Wikimedia Aotearoa New Zealand committee. And he really likes the way that Wikipedia articles can draw information together, really like a central place. Yep, next slide. So he did some analysis of the article's traffic, and there's so many views. I don't know if you can see, but there's thousands of views over the last 12 months on these national park articles, and many of them were very poor quality. So their goal was to get the articles up to good article status. So I'll just show you the slides. This is a beautiful Ambrosia team who you can click on the link and see the work that she does. And the next slide, Joan, Lightless Birds. So this is about Christchurch Art Gallery. And then next Saturday, I'm running a visitor-thon in Auckland Museum on women in architecture. So, you can join in virtually if you want to. Kia ora.
Okay, and how will we join virtually for the next Saturday?
How to join virtually is basically just put your name on the project, and then there won't be like a Zoom link or anything, but we'll notice your links. Yep.
Lisa, is that a rata? Huh? Is that a rata? Oh, no, that's secret. What is a rata?
The flower Hutakawa.
Is it which?
Hutakawa or Hutakawa?
Isn't that a rata?
Yes. You research it, Margaret, and let me know. There's a link to the image.
Okay, thank you so much, Lisa. This is about Oh, okay. So if you want something souvenir from Lisa, you can take from the luggage. Okay, so the last session we have learned a lot from Bandung Indonesia, and also we have learned a lot from Australia and also from New Zealand. And now it's already 4:48, and I think time is up because we have to prepare for our trip to the village. So maybe if you have any questions to the speakers, you can reach them out and talk anything to them. Okay, so I'm Mia, so I'm signing out. Thank you so much for joining the session. So I will back the mic to Ahmad.
Thank you very much, Mia. So yeah, we will be having our visit to the Mari Cultural Village soon. Let me just turn on the program itinerary again. I honestly have 5:10. So at 5:10 we will be departing. 5:10 will be departing. So make sure to get ready. You will be able to find the transport, the shuttle transport, outside of the hotel, so you can wait in the lobby. The transport will have the signage signifying that it is our transport to the Bangladesh. So thank you very much once again to all presenters from this session and as well as the previous sessions as well. So we'll see each other at the village hopefully.
The other sessions are refined.
Sudah? Oke.